So when it comes to us testing people over and over, it's very frustrating, right? You clicked on this video because you are somebody that tests people over and over, and I bet you want to know why you do that, and you also want to know how to heal the root cause of why you do that. Because this used to be me. I used to test people over and over, and it used to drive me absolutely crazy, and I bet it does you as well. So why are you doing this? You're doing the testing, you're doing the will he come back, and that's when you send messages, that's when you will ghost people, you will block people, you will unblock people, because ultimately at the bottom of it you have two core wounds at play here. Okay, you have the abandonment wound, okay, one of the biggest childhood trauma wounds, and this will all derive back into your childhood. Okay, the other is you have what we call the betrayal wound. Okay, so somebody to you has betrayed you, which means you've also got the trust also involved in there. So when we look at why we test people over and over, and like I say, I know that probably you're one of those people, and you'll call it like playing games, and then you sit there, do you not, and you go, oh my god, like, why have I done that? What I want you to know when you're doing all this trusting is, yes, those three wounds are at play, but ultimately your inner child has taken over you. How many times have you said something really ridiculous in a conversation? And then if you're able to, after you have been massively triggered, you come back and you go, oh my God, I was so childish. And I want you to think back to a time when you recently tested somebody. And if it doesn't trigger you too much, go back to that moment. Can you feel that there was another part of you that kind of did or said that thing? And once you had did or said that thing and you'd done it, did you then feel ridiculous and very small and like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that? Or on the other hand, are you somebody that you know constantly tests people over and over? Because it is entirely possible that your inner child is actually living through you in your experience. And this is something that was very true for a client I worked with very recently, where we did a huge amount of work overlooking, why does she test people over and over? Because she was very aware that she was doing it with her boyfriend. And she's like, every single man I meet, I test him. And she goes, it's like he's got a series of tests to pass. And she's like, I'm waiting to catch him out. She's like, I am so, and is this you? Are you so hypervigilant? You're like watching the moment that he picks up his phone. Is he texting someone else? Or it could be her. Is she texting someone else? And then you start to make up loads of stories in your head. And then you start the playing games and you're in and out and you're hot and cold. All of this behaviour is everything to do with your childhood. And why did that happen? Ultimately, it's the core wound of the abandonment. And what that was you learned that people are sometimes going to be there for you and sometimes they're not, which derives into the trust. You also learned that you pretty much had to be on your own. Like me, you learned that you had to be a survivor. You learned that you had to get on with life, and you learned that the only person you can truly really count on is yourself. But what you do is you set tests for people. You don't mean to. And if people go, oh my God, it feels like you're testing me, what happens then is then you go into like the victim, which is the inner child, and you go, I know I do it. I'm so sorry. Can I have another chance? And then before you know it, do you not then go and set another test? So that's why you're doing it. The core wound behind that, like I say, that is the abandonment. That is the betrayal wound. That is trust. Okay, and how are we going to solve that? Because that's why you clicked on here. Okay, how we resolve that is we continuously show up and choose our inner child. I want you to know that whatever work you do with your inner child or your inner boy, because you have both, you all have an inner boy and an inner girl. Okay, and when you start showing up for those versions of you, you change everything. I want you to know your childhood does not have to continue to affect you over and over. But what we need to do with our inner child is create the safety. Because ultimately, that's why you're testing people over and over. You didn't feel safe. You didn't feel like you could trust people because people let you down when you were younger. And you learned that, hey, dad might be there now, but will dad do that? People would have made promises to you as well when it comes to you testing people. People would have said, oh, we're going to go out on Saturday. This is my mum's favourite. My mum used to absolutely love to promise to take me somewhere at the weekend. And then the weekend would come and she goes, oh, I don't feel like it. Or I was only kidding, right? Or, well, we might do. And my mum's favourite was if it's. You know, if it's in the cupboard, you can have it. If it's not, you can't. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. Okay. But that is what is creating the whole trust thing. But like I'm saying, if you start spending time with your inner child on a regular basis and you create that consistency, you're going to change everything that happened back then. And consistency for me is ideally we show up in the morning, we show up at night, we show up at least once a week. If you can do showing up for your inner child 2 or 3 times a week, you're in for a winner. Because then your inner child starts to trust you. Because yes, the abandonment wound is the biggest one at play there, but you've also got the trust. So can you see from this video here that you start showing up for little you more and more, and you keep your promise? So when you're working with your inner child, you do whatever you're going to do. You do activities with them, you make them safe, you dress them in the morning, you read them bedtime stories if you've got an inner child, or if you're with your inner boy, you are with him at night. But what you do before you leave, finish working with your inner child, you tell them when you're going to come back. That number one thing will help you massively start to build the trust and the rapport. And trust is something that will take time for your inner child to build up. It took me 6 weeks. Initially, when I did find my inner child, because of my own trauma, it took me 6 weeks of continuously showing up over and over and over. Some of you may find it easier to connect with your inner child, or you may think that your inner child is like 7, 8 or 9 or whatever. But the biggest key takeaway from this video here for you, show up for your inner child on a regular basis. And if life happens and you didn't manage to show up, I want you to know a very simple apology will change everything. A very simple, hey, do you know what? I'm so sorry that I didn't show up for you then. I'm here now. That's all you've got to do. You don't have to go into a massive apology. All you simply can go and say is, okay, cool. I'm sorry that I didn't show up. I'm here now. Can we spend time together now? Can we do things together? That's going to really help with the testing. That's going to help with the trust wound. That's also going to massively help with the abandonment wound, because you're being consistent, because you're showing up. And from this video, like I'm saying, whatever you do now with your inner child, that changes everything back then. Whatever happened to you as a child, you can heal and overcome it. I am living proof. I've recovered from DID, 14 different personalities, and had a very abusive childhood when I was a child. And I want you to know it is possible. But that requires the consistent presence of you over and over showing up. If you want to know how to do that, I have my inner child reset and I have my inner boy reset. Both of them there teach you what to do in the morning, what to do at night, what to do weekly. 50 activities for the inner boy, 50 activities for the inner child there for you. And there's also a ton of other tools. You get to uninstall core wounds, etc. And why you actually do what you do. So they're great places to start, or come and do a session with me. Either way, I really hope this has given you kind of like an overview, and maybe you're curious. Maybe this video just sparked a bit of curiosity in you and said, do you know what, hey Kel, yeah, do you know, some of the stuff you said has landed, and if any of this has landed, put it in the comments. Which bit here made you go, cheers Kel, I'm so glad I clicked on this video. Thanks mate. Because I want to know, you know, what bit here was that one takeaway that you went, cool, I got that from Kel. All right. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think, and thanks for watching. And if you want to learn more about your inner child and different ways that they work, etc., click over here and you'll be able to see a playlist all about how to work with your inner child. Ton of videos over there that are really going to help you start digging really deep, because that's why you see me. I'm your inner child expert, and I'm the person that gets it and understands it because I've lived it, and that's why I can help you. I hope that helps. All right, cheers, take care, ta-da, bye-bye.